Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's hybrid education program at Cancer Support Community South Bay. I'm Rebecca, the program manager, and I welcome you to this workshop titled Say What? How to Communicate Anything to Anyone. Before we begin, if this is your first time joining us, CSC South Bay's mission is to uplift and support people impacted by cancer by providing support, fostering compassionate communities, and breaking down barriers to care. Our vision is that everyone impacted by cancer receives the support they want and need throughout their experience. We serve the South Bay, Long Beach, and Orange County area all at no cost. Our programs include support groups, networking groups, healthy lifestyle classes, social activities, and educational programs like this workshop. Educational programs are open to all. If you'd like to hear more about our services or join our community, please visit our website at cscsouthbay.org. Before I introduce today's speaker, we ask you to keep your microphone muted. For those online, to continue distracting background noise, please feel free to enter any general questions into the chat, and hopefully we'll have time at the end to get to them. I'd like to introduce our workshop speaker. Dr. Kathy Gruver is an award-winning author, professional speaker, and ACC certified coach with over 30 years experience in mind-body medicine and human behavior. Kathy has written 8 books, which have garnered 12 awards, hosted a TV series based on her first book, delivered 2 TEDx talks, developed a stress reduction program for the U.S. military, and co-hosts the Fire and Earth podcast. She has earned her PhD in natural health and has studied mind-body medicine at the famed Benson Henry Institute for Mind-Body Medicine at Harvard. Thank you so much, Kathy, for being here today.
That's why we for me or this. For me. Yeah. Because I know your story. Oh yeah, that's
okay. I think we are ready to go. Are we good?
Yeah.
We're good to go. All right. Thank you all for being here. I'm so excited to get to come down and be in person. The traffic gods were not in my favor as they shut down multiple entrances to the 405. So I was like, I could get up. Nope. Nope. And I'm watching the time tick further and further. So I was having a slight, luckily I teach stress reduction as well. So it was good. So I'm Kathy Gruver. I've been here before. I recognize some faces. So thank you for having me back. Rebecca, thanks for helping me coordinate this and being a phenomenal communicator. So us getting this together. So just a little background about me. I have a PhD in natural health with an emphasis in mind-body medicine. I've been a professional speaker for about 15 years. I've done 2 TEDx talks, traveled the world teaching people about communication and stress reduction, resistance to change, narcissism, and something called internal family systems, which is one of my favorite things. I don't know where you are in your communication journey. Perhaps this is something that just your first foray into communication. Perhaps you studied communication. Perhaps you've been doing this your entire life, but you want just some extra tips. Because this is sort of a broad category, and I don't know where you are in your journey, you might see me put up a slide or say something where you're like, that's basic, I got that down. Wait, there might be the next thing that you've not heard of or not thought of, or I'll express it in a way that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So this is sort of a general communication conversation. So a lot of this stuff is pretty basic. A lot of this stuff is universal. And then near the end, I'm really going to get into dealing with communication as a patient, as a caregiver. So we will get to that as well. But let's dive in. So the very first thing, if my clicker worked, it does not. Oh, it's not moving at all. Okay. Oh, that's why. There we go. The very first thing is the communication loop. This is the most basic thing in the world. I have something I want to communicate. I say it to you. You respond to me. How do we screw this up? It's 3 steps. But yet at any point during this triangle, something gets messed up. Maybe I'm not clear in what I'm asking for. Maybe I don't know what I really want, so I spend 20 minutes babbling before we get to the point of what I need. Maybe you're not ready for that communication. Maybe you weren't listening to me. Maybe I communicated something that you didn't want to hear, and so you just blocked it out. Maybe what you gave me back is not what I was looking for. Maybe you didn't get my text. Maybe you accidentally blocked my number on your phone. Maybe I didn't push send when I sent the text. We've all had, why haven't they responded? And you look at your text and realize you actually didn't hit send and it's been sitting there, or you sent it to the wrong person. At any point during this cycle, something can go wrong. And I wish I could tell you that I can wave a magic wand and change everybody else. Wouldn't that be great? We could just bing, because we're great at communication. We're great. It's everybody else, right? But if we can change ourselves, if we can grow, if we can augment the skills we already have, then we're going to be better communicators. So this is what today is about. It's helping you navigate the sometimes rocky world of communication so that you can get your needs met better. I understand I talk fast. I'm from the East Coast originally. I apologize for that. And I've got a lot of stuff to cover. So if I glaze over something that you have a question about, I've got business cards. Message me after. You're also all welcome to have the PowerPoint. I can send it to you. If you need my notes, if you have a question, they're also recording it. Go back, put me on half speed. It makes me sound like a normal person. So the first thing we're going to ask is, how are you? How are you in this communication? Are you stressed? Are you accusatory? Are you tired? Are you hangry? I know that one. I get that face, and people that know me are like, oh, Kathy's making that face. We better get her some food. Are you recalling a past experience? I do a lot of travel. I was at the airport recently and I was in a rush and there was a little info booth guy and I ran up to him and I said, excuse me, can you tell me where the bathroom is? And he goes, right there. As if I've asked him 30 times. He was treating me as if I was the annoying one. And I'm sure he gets this question all day long, but it was my first time. And so I look over and literally a giant restroom sign. And I went, oh, you mean under the big sign that says restroom? And he kind of laughed a little bit and I softened that situation. But so often we're recalling this past experience. People with kids go through this. People who are teachers go through this. It's like, my God, they ask me this all the time. Try to remember this is this moment in time. This is the first time you're having this communication. And if you ask your doctor a question and he's heard it 700 times, which I'm sure they have, remind them, hey, I know you get this question all the time. This is my first time asking. Or I understand we've had this conversation before. I realize I need more clarity. I am all about asking questions. For those of you that circled curiosity on your form, yes, curiosity is one of those things that brings us back to the present moment. So if you have a question, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, ask the question. Ask more questions. Ask for clarifying questions. Any only children in the room? Yay, sitting back by yourself. Okay. I'm an only child also, as is my husband, which I swore I'd never do. And I'm surprised our vows weren't I do. No, I do, because we fight a lot about those sorts of things. I have to let you know, and I'm devastated by this too, it's not all about us. I know, it's the first time he's hearing it. I'm so sorry to break that to you. There's also no Santa Claus, but that's a whole nother thing. So often we make these things about us. Right? We personalize so many things. Somebody's having a bad day, we assume it's us. I had a client show up to my office and she said, she had a face on. I knew she was upset. And I said, what's going on? And she said, I waved to a friend at the gym and he didn't wave back. And I went, okay, thinking I was transported back to junior high. Like, why? Okay. I said, well, what happened? And she said, well, I had a great workout and I was walking out of the gym and I was driving out in my car and she came out of the gym and I waved and she looked right at me and didn't wave back. And I said, okay, what do you think this means? She goes, she doesn't like me. And I said, okay, what else could it be? She had no answer to that. And I said, what if she had a really great workout and was lost in her own thoughts and just sort of staring off and didn't really see you? What if she had a horrible workout, twisted her ankle and was heading to urgent care? What if she just got a text that her cat was hit by a car and she's off to the vet? What if she got a text that says her kid got into a fight at school and she's heading off to the school? What if she didn't have her contacts in or her glasses on, she couldn't see you? What if there was glare against the window and all she saw was a reflection? What if you got the wrong person? Because we've all done that in Trader Joe's where we're like, hi, oh no, you're not Beth. And then you follow each other in every aisle and you figure you should just be friends. She couldn't consider anything else. And this is so common with us. We personalize these things, right? The only way to truly find out if this woman doesn't like you is to walk up to her and go, hey, I noticed the other day you waved at me and I waved and you didn't wave back. Maybe you didn't see me. And if she goes, I don't like you, then you know she doesn't like you. Other than that, you just don't know. And we tend to pick the thing that makes us the worst. We tend to pick the thing that makes us unworthy. We tend to pick the thing that triggers us back to childhood where we need to be somebody else to be loved. And I don't care how great your families were. At some point, we had conditional love where we felt like, hey, I'm loved if I get an A. I'm loved if I look cute in the dress, or I'm the funny one, or I'm the smart one. Not so much if I'm smearing poop on the wall in Target and throwing a tantrum. So we realized pretty quick we have to adapt who we are to be liked. We're adults. We don't have to do that now. This table doesn't like me. I get to go to this table. You guys don't like me. I'll find a group that does. But we're stuck back in that childhood need of acceptance, of validation. So often these things that trigger us and take us, that we take personally, all the way back to childhood. Just when someone says, where did this start? Just childhood. Just assume that. Let's talk about stress and communication. Now, we're all under stress. Add to that a medical diagnosis that can increase our stress. Just as a side note, I lost my mom when I was 18 to cancer, after probably a 9 or 10 year struggle with it. So even though I was young, I lived through that, and I watched my father navigate that and my mother's friends navigate that. And so I have a special place in my heart for anybody dealing with cancer. And I think at this point in the world, that's what all of us, right? We all know somebody. But when we're dealing with diagnosis and things like that, we're stressed. So when we are dealing with stress and communication, we perceive things as threats when they're not. We tend to react and not respond. This is why it's great to have an advocate, because if we're reactive, we can turn to the calming figure next to us and get responsive. We lose the ability to take personal responsibility. We tend to blame other people for things that go wrong when we're in a stressed place. We can't hear what someone's really saying. It's filtered through this negative lens. We aren't aware of our own feelings. So things can get muddled there. So anything you can do to relieve your stress. We don't read nonverbal communication accurately. We look for negatively valenced words. So when we're in a stressed state, it's not going to go well. We're going to snap at the ones we love. We're going to yell at our kids. We're going to be mad at the cat. We're going to not ask the questions that we want to ask because our minds are cloudy. When we're in fight or flight, all we know is we have to fight or run. We don't have to remember where our keys are. We don't have to remember that really important question we wanted to ask the doctor. We're not going to remember the question we wanted to ask the pharmacist. At the end, I'm going to give you a couple little stress reduction tips. That's not what this talk is about. I think I did that one last time, but I can share all of that with you as well. So let's talk about timing and communication. Timing is not just the key to comedy. I am all for giving someone a warning that a conversation is going to take place. If you need to sit your partner down and express what the doctor said, if you need to talk to your kids, tell them that. Please do not walk up to them and say, can we talk? Because universally that means you're breaking up with me. And that's probably not where this is going. So can we talk? Not a great way to start that conversation. If I'm having feelings that I want to discuss with my husband, I say, hey, I was having some feelings about something. Is this a good time to have a conversation about that? Or, hey, I saw the doctor this morning. I got some important information. Is this a good time to have that conversation? Because if it's not a good time, if they're not ready for it, they're not going to be present, and that communication loop's going to go to hell. Find out if it's a good time. If you're stuck on the freeway trying to get to a talk and somebody say, is this a good time for a conversation? No, I'm trying to get to where I'm going. As much as you can, be well rested, well fed, stress-free before you have these conversations. Take a break if you need it. I don't know whoever said, do not go to bed angry. Go to bed. They're going to be there in the morning. Just, you're 3 o'clock in the morning. You've been talking about this since 6. You're crying, you're yelling, you've got no sleep. Now is not the time to continue that conversation. If it gets to be too much, if it gets to be too long, say, wow, I didn't set enough time aside for this. Can you give me just 10 minutes to grab some water, go to the bathroom, finish the email, let the cat out, whatever you need to do. You want to give an environment of the best communication possible. And I'm a big fan of rehearsing things. It's maybe the actor in me. Run it through how you want to say it, because our brain moves towards things it's familiar with. So if you've run through the conversation in your head of how you're going to have it, you're more likely going to have it that way. And if something does go awry in the conversation, you're going to be in a less stressed state so that you can kind of move and jive and juke with how that conversation goes. My favorite one, you don't lose weight jumping to conclusions. Oh, if we did, we'd all be so svelte. The question that I like to ask for this is, what do I know to be true? And my client with the she doesn't like me, all she knew to be true was she didn't wave. That's it. How threatening is that? She didn't wave back. It's up here that we create all these tales. And so often we have feelings about things. I feel like I don't care. I mean, I do care. I'm a coach. I validate feelings all day. I validate them. But just because you feel that doesn't mean it's fact. And I'm a huge learning nerd. I'm halfway through with my husband a YouTube video interviewing an ex-CIA operative. And one of the things that he said in his training was, we are taught not to go with our gut, not to go with your feelings, because 90% of the time, it's not right. He goes, feel it, and then go, it's probably that other thing. And he said, you start to realize that it's the other thing, which sounds completely contrary to what you would think a CIA operative's doing. Feelings, he said, we get feelings all the time. They're wrong. And I went, that's true. What might the other person see or know that I don't? Like I said, I grew up on the East Coast. I lived here in LA for many years, so I'm kind of an aggressive driver. And now I'm in Santa Barbara, where people are high, or old, or both. And I love our stoned elders. I aspire to be a stoned old person. That is my goal. But they're in front of me and I have to go to work. So I show up at this four-way intersection. There's a giant SUV in front of me, little woman, big SUV. I already got judgy. And so she's sitting there and we're at a stop sign and I'm looking around. I see no one around and she's just sitting there. So I give the couple second grace period. And then I'm like, beep, little beep, just to let her know I'm there. And I say out loud, come on, lady, it says stop, not park, which she can't hear, but it makes me feel better. And I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. She's still not going anywhere. I don't know if she's making sushi, breastfeeding, doing her makeup, all three. I don't know what's happening. So I finally give her a little bit longer. Beep. And I say, come on, lady, make a decision, even if it's wrong, which my dad used to say, but she can't hear, but it makes me feel better. And I'm sitting there and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And finally, she goes through the intersection. And I discover there was a person in the wheelchair crossing the street in front of her. Oh. Who's the asshole? Don't be me. Don't be me. Don't be the asshole. Now, is it possible that she was distracted and did? Yes, 100%, which is why the nice, kind first little beep of just so you know I'm here. There are so many times where we don't have all the information and we jump to conclusions and we think we know the thing. Mind reading is a thing. Fortune telling is a thing. These are cognitive distortions that we all have at one point or another. Ask questions. Now, I felt terrible. She drive. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't see. There's no horn that says that. But we've all done that. We've all jumped to conclusions in a way that gets us in some level of discomfort or trouble. So get as much of the information as you can first. So let's talk about my favorite thing. We're going to talk about communication styles. I don't know why I'm using the clicker. I'm standing in front of the computer. We'll put that down. So there's multiple ways to look at communication styles. There's direct, indirect, introvert, extrovert, submissive, dominant, not that kind, energy levels, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and then all the rest. Direct or indirect is pretty simple. I'm a very direct communicator. You want something from me, I give you the answer. Half my messages to you will probably see you then. And I have to remember, have a nice day. I have to remember to go back and say that. Because when I'm in business mode, it's this. My ideal communication, someone texts me and says, or I text them and say, do you want a 4 o'clock? They write back, yes. Dream communication. Here's what I get. Do you want a 4 o'clock? They call me. Nope. And then I see a voicemail, and then I see the voicemail, and then I see the voicemail. They've left me a 10-minute voicemail. Hi, Kathy, it's Joan. Yeah, no, I got your message. I can't make the 4 o'clock because Mitzi's a show dog. Anyway, so I take her to the groomer because every year she rolls around these burrs. Well, not really burrs, they're more like brambles. Anyway, I take her to get her hair done, and so I can't make the 4 o'clock because I've got to be there at 4:15. So maybe, I don't care. I don't care. Do you want the 4 o'clock? I don't care about Mitzi. That's not true. I do care about Mitzi, but not right then. So I text her back. I'm not calling this woman. It's a whole day process. I text her back and to build what I want to say is, I don't care how about 4:30. I can say that. That's not going to build rapport. And the point of good communication is to build rapport. So I can't say F you and the dog Do you want the 4 o'clock? So what I'll text her because I'm not calling her. I'll text her and say, hey, got your message, running into my next client. Sorry to hear about Mitzi. We do love our pets, don't we? Would 4:30 give you enough time? I've heard her. I acknowledged her situation. I gave some sort of empathy back, even though I sort of faked it. And then once she's in my office or on my table, great, tell me about Mitzi. Because I have animals. I care about animals and pets. I do want to have that conversation with her when appropriate. And this is hard because if you're an indirect communicator, you're going to, and some of the others that we'll get to in a second, you kind of launch off into things that aren't really why we're here. And you can tell right away, usually, how that person is. Me being a very direct communicator, it also makes me a big smartass. And as an only child, we lived in Pittsburgh in this little one-story house, but there were stairs down to the basement. Half of it was finished, with a little game room thing. And I would open the basement door. I would be halfway down the stairs and my mom would go, where are you going? And I would go down the stairs. You can tell by the direction my feet are facing. And this was me at like 6. Okay. So my poor mom, no. That's not what she meant. She didn't mean, where are you going? She meant, what are you going to do down there? Which is not what she asked me. Drives me crazy because you're not going to get your needs met. My husband and I were flying I think we were going to Jamaica for a talk I was giving. I was on the end. I got to stretch. I got to move. I can't sit that long. He's in the middle because he'll sleep anywhere. Woman on the window. And as we're taking off, she leans over and goes, would either of you like to sit at the window? And we both said, no, because we very specifically picked where we're sitting. Well, turns out the flight took off like 25 minutes late. She had a quick connection and wanted to sit on the end so she could make her flight. She didn't tell any of us that. So as we're about to land, the flight attendant announces, hey, da, 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 da. And I look over at her and suddenly put this together and go, oh, do you need to go? And she goes, yeah. But the seatbelt sign was on. There was no jockeying position at this point. And I said, I'm going to run interference for you. So I did this into the aisle. My husband scooched up. She ran out. But her needs were not getting met. But then here's the story she gets to tell. I asked the people next to me on the plane if they would switch so that I could get off, and they wouldn't. Yeah. So this is why when you hear something from someone, you have to ask further questions. Because once again, I'm the asshole, but this time I didn't do anything wrong. She didn't ask the right question. If you want your needs to be met, you have to ask the right question. And you have to know what you want. We'll get to that in a second. Extrovert and introvert, I'm highly extroverted. If I'm talking to an introvert, I'm going to calm myself down. Because if I go at them with full extroversion, dominant, direct communicator, I'm going to the force field. I'm going to scare the crap out of them. So I calm my gestures down. I step back a little bit. I don't make such intense eye contact. I'll look around a little bit more. You have to morph you to them. You can't expect them to morph to you. There's dominant and submissive. Men tend to be dominant communicators. Women tend to be a little more submissive. This is a problem in medical settings because the women feel like they don't want to bug anybody. They don't want to bother them. They don't want to ask for things. Damn it. What do you need and ask for it? Please. Because I want to see you get your needs met. I want to see you get the care, the love, the everything that you want to have during this process. You've got to ask for what you want. Men, if you're in a situation where the men are all talking and the women are going, I was thinking, how about, shut up and look to see who's not been talking. Did you have anything to add to that? You've been really quiet. Or it looked like you wanted to say something. What do you think about this? Bring in the people that aren't speaking up. It's the only way sometimes they will be heard. Energy levels, high energy level, low energy level. Again, try to match the person. Visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, we'll talk about in 1 second. Expressor, driver, amiable, and analytical is the quiz that I gave you. I don't want to spend time having everyone do it, but I'll tell you how to do it. Some of you did already. And then the results, you can look at all the stuff at home, but I wanted to make sure you had that. So I am not a news watcher, especially now. I don't know if you noticed, some stuff is happening. It's some weird stuff and some scary stuff. So I haven't had a news program on in forever. When I do, I watch CNN for one reason. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, so I've been told I'm not his type, which is okay. I'm happily married. And I had one person at Taco, you shouldn't be, oh God, what's it called? no, when you you shouldn't be objectifying someone during a talk. It's very inappropriate. I'm like, I'm kidding. He's incredibly well-spoken, not bad on the eyes, and I think he does good interviews. So yes, I'm somewhat objectifying him, but it makes my point. The reason I like those kind of news shows is they have a pundit on, and the interviewer, hopefully Anderson Cooper, asks a question, blah, 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 blah. And the person who's answering the question typically says one of two things. Look, blah, 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 blah. Or listen, blah, 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 blah. You immediately know what type of learner and communicator they are. If they say, look, they're a visual learner, they're a visual communicator. I see your point. I hear you. Sounds good to me. Auditory. I am not an auditory learner. If I put on an audiobook, I hear, I can't do it. My brain doesn't pick it up. If I go to a concert or a symphony, I'm out. I'm gone. Take me to a dance performance, take me to something where I get to move. I'm a visual kinesthetic. There's been so many times where I've said, can I show you a better way to do that? And my husband goes, can you just tell me? And I go, nope. I need to show you. I need to act it out. By the time I figure out words that will let me know what you're doing, seasons have passed and I don't know what's happening. I do aerial silks, and sometimes you're up in the air and they're like, go over your left shoulder. And I'm like, no, I know the left. I just don't know what go over the left shoulder. I don't know what that means. And so my husband's the instructor, and he has completely shifted how he teaches, because there was one move he told us to do. And I said, I'm sorry, you're going to have to move my body to show me what that means. And all the other girls on the ground went, I didn't get it. But they were afraid to ask the question. I'll ask anybody any question, regardless of whether they're my husband or not. So he's shifted the way he teaches because he recognizes most people are visual learners. Throw in the kinesthetic, the next group is auditory. If you're an auditory person, call on the phone. I hate talking on the phone. I won't do it. I can't do it. It makes me uncomfortable. Let me see your face. Let's get on Zoom. Let's do this in person. Send me a text that I can read. Communicate with the people the way they like to be communicated with. You're going to get more done that way. And then finally, we have this quiz. So you will pick. When there's two choices of things, I always screw it up. I'll do it over here. You're going to pick one in each row. Are you a futurist, a realist, a coordinator, or a reporter? Or are you forward-thinking, values-focused, learn detail? Then, are you a dreamer? Thank you. Are you a dreamer, a driver, a peacekeeper, a doer? You're going to pick one out of each column. Then you're going to add up your columns. I'm sorry if I explained it wrong on the thing. I have changed it 32 times and it's still not right. I swear to God I have. But here's what I want you to write at the top of those columns: the answers. So if you have most of your answers in the first column, you're an expressor. If you have most of your answers in the second column, you're a driver. Third column, you're amiable. Fourth column, you're analytical. Not surprising anybody, I'm a driver. Yes, ma'am. If you have even numbers, this is great. If you have even numbers, and I had one guy freaking out because sometimes I have people stand on walls, and he was the cheese stands alone. He was standing in the center of the thing, terrified that he had done something wrong. And I said, what a beautiful gift that you can communicate more easily with all four types. So if you're even in a couple, I'm driver expressor. I'm expressor enough with the sense of humor, the presentation stuff, and that I don't kill anybody. But the driver is me at work. So I kind of go between those two. So no need to do it now. I don't want to take up the time. I also know we started a little bit late. So this is the answer key: expressor, driver, amiable, analytical, across the top or the bottom. Excellent. So now let's talk about what this looks like in medical situations, and let's look at what this looks like just sort of in the real world. The amiables are patient, they're composed, they're a team player. If you're communicating with an amiable, be friendly with them and chit chat. This is Mitzi's mom. She wants to tell you everything that's going on in the world before you actually get down to business, which drives us drivers crazy. I'm also a triple Capricorn and an only child, and my dad wanted a boy and got me. So I'm getting it from all sides. Communicate change. Amiables want to be in the loop. They get fixated on something. This is all vast generalizations. They get fixated on something and change doesn't go real well with the amiables. Ask them about themselves, encourage them to speak up. These are the ones that'll chit chat over coffee for hours, but in a more serious situation, they go and they don't talk. Give them recognition. Make sure you acknowledge the progress they've made, the things that they've done, everything that. From a medical standpoint, often the amiables are the ones that are like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. They don't, they minimize symptoms, they minimize concerns, they want to keep the peace more than they want to make waves. So if you're dealing with that, just know when you're talking to an amiable in that way, that's what they're dealing with. Maybe if you're the amiable saying something like, I don't want to complain, but this isn't working for me. Or my comfort matters too. Finding a way to express your needs in a way that feels comfortable for you if you're not used to speaking up is going to be key to that. The next one is the expressors. The expressors are very social, positive expectancy, expressiveness. These are the ones, if you need to do a newsletter, a podcast, a fun email, these are the ones. Be friendly and personable. In this way, they're very much like the amiables. They want to chit chat. They want to tell you how their day was. Include them in things. They want to be included. These are the, what do you mean you didn't invite me kind of people. Communicate on status. They want updates as well. Find ways to use their verbal skills. If you're having an office party and you need to do a flyer for it, talk to the expressors. However, be clear in your goals because the expressors can get carried away. And you want an ice cream cake for 3 people and Bob, and suddenly you've got a mariachi band and a chocolate fountain, and there's a parade coming, and you're like, we just needed a small party. The expressors are going to go, a party, and they're going to run with it. So just know that's the trappings with the expressors. Often they feel overwhelmed. They will feel overwhelmed with all the information that's coming to them about treatment, about care, about options. They will share their feelings, but they need a lot of reassurance. So as they're sharing, make sure you're comforting them, giving them the connection, giving them the reassurance, and asking them, how do you most like to be cared for? I think we should ask everybody this question on our first date. How do you like to be cared for? How do you like to be loved? How do you like to be talked to? How do you like to be intimate with? How do you like to be treated when you're sick? This was once I realized my husband and I were going to be going someplace as a couple. I said, how do you like to be treated when you're sick? He's like, what? And I said, if you get a cold or the flu or COVID, because that's kind of right before we met was COVID, right after we met was COVID. I said, some, especially guys, I said, do you want to be treated like a kid? Do you want to be left alone? Do you want me to dote on you? Do you want me to lock you in a room until you feel better? How do you want to be treated when you're sick? And he goes, that's a really great question. He goes, I kind of like being mothered a little bit. And I went, super. Just so you know, when you're sick, Dr. Kathy comes out. And it's take this, drink that, lay down. That doesn't mean I don't love you. That's how I'll snuggle you and take the damn pill. I'll hold you while I'm saying, will you lay down, please? You know, we have to train people how we want to be treated. So very important. Drivers, this is me. Get to the point quickly. We do not like to have our time wasted. We're very controlling. We're very ambitious. We're results oriented. Challenge them. Us drivers want to be challenged. We also need to know the scope of our role because I can't tell you how many barbecues that weren't mine that I'm cooking at. Because they're amiables and expressors, they're off enjoying the party and I'm flipping burgers at someone else's house. You're like, oh, do you live here? Nope, but it's 7 o'clock and the meat's not going to cook itself. My husband's like, honey, you don't live here. I'm like, someone has to do this. So know that as a driver, they're not going to lay down. They're going to want to do everything. Can I drive you there? No, they want to go themselves. This is how I would be. So don't waste their time. Give them recognition. The worst thing you can do for a driver is take credit for something they came up with. Horrible, horrible, horrible. In the direct communicators with medical stuff, just bottom line it. They don't need to hear the fluffy stuff. Tell me the diagnosis. What's happening with me? What is the time? What's it going to do? What's it going to look like? When's it going to happen? That's what they want to know. They want clear answers. They want concise communication, and they may sound blunt and rude, especially when they're overwhelmed. But they just want this narrow, and this is how I am. I want a narrow thing of information. Bottom line is for me. And as a coach, I have clients that want to get lost in the story. I literally had a newer coaching client yesterday. She spent the first half hour giving me the background about her relationship with her husband. She could have told me this story in 7 minutes. And I kept saying, I don't want you to get lost in the story. Well, it's important you know this. I didn't need to know the friends' names, the movie they were going to, what day of the week it was. I didn't need any of that. As a direct communicator, I'm like, dude, we're running out. I mean, it's your time, but like, this is not what coaching is. So understand if you're dealing with a direct person, this is how they're going to be. Sometimes, usually. Analyticals, sort of on the same line with the drivers. They're precise, they're quality oriented, very direct. Get to business quickly, present facts. Obviously, the analytical people are going to want facts. Again, define their role and responsibility. Let them know it's okay to make a mistake, bless you, because analyticals, they're so used to dealing with facts, with numbers. This is very stereotypically the person sitting in a room with a spreadsheet, or they're the accountant. They don't care about people as much as they do this narrow line of things. So let them know they can make a mistake. We all can make a mistake, but the analyticals get especially upset if they make a mistake. This will show up from the guise of, I just need to understand this. And if they don't understand, it's going to create a loop and they're going to ruminate. So to the extent that you can give them all the information they want, they might ask you 30 more follow-up questions. It's the new moment. It's a new time. Got to find a way to get their questions answered. They ask detailed questions. They want facts. They want data. Often researches. So this is the person on Dr. Google for the 6 months before they have themselves diagnosed and treated and ready to go before they ever see the doctor because they asked all the questions. Wanting information is a way of coping for them. And you're allowed to ask for that clarity. They're allowed to ask for that time. That's why we have advocates and partners and kids and medical professionals who are there to help us. So if clarity comes to you through, if comfort comes to you through asking questions and wanting clarity, then find a way to make that work. Yes.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are analyticals opposite of expressors?
Kind of. So somewhere, I haven't looked at it in a long time, there's the 4 quadrants, right, of what is similar to what. Drivers and analyticals are sort of across from each other. We get along great. Expressors and amiables get along great. Across that, it's really hard because drivers view the expressors of, oh my God, will you shut up and answer my question? And expressors look at drivers and analyticals of, boy, they were so rude. I was halfway through a conversation that was really important about my dog and they kept going back to business. So this is where there's conflict in those. Not to say we can't reach across and do it. This is why I'm giving you this. And also this was, I just printed out for my notes. If you want this handout, yes. Anybody that wants it, we'll give that to you after. Great question. Thank you. All right. Any of my nerdy friends in the room know what grok means? Do you grok it? Do you know? No, this goes way back. So do you grok it means I get it. Grok comes from Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land back from the 60s. And it means you really understand. On a very deep level, you get exactly what I'm talking about. That is, do you grok it? If you do not grok it, please ask questions. Please ask for clarification. I was traveling. We were married at the time, my ex-husband, and we were in the countryside of France, and we were lost, and I spoke un peu French, and he spoke none. And so he calls the guy whose house we're trying to get to for this big wine tasting, and I hear him going, uh-huh. Oh, okay, the circle. Right, okay. Left, second, right. Okay, great. Oh, we'll see you soon. I don't know what he said.
Yeah.
And I went, what? What do you mean you don't know what he said? Well, you speak French. Call him back. He didn't want to appear stupid. Whatever he didn't want to appear. This is why he's the ex-husband. So I get on the phone with this guy and I'm like, bonjour. Hi. What? Go. Okay, great. We got it. And we made it, but I was not happy camper about that. To make sure you got it, repeat back what they said. So what I hear you saying is we're going to turn right, then left. We're going to go around the circle twice. We're going to spit, and then we're going to be at your house. Did I get that right? Did I get that right? Is the most powerful question you can ask. Because if you give me some, thing, like with my client the other day, oh, so what it sounds like to me is over the last 7 months, your husband's been pulling back. He doesn't want to engage in social activities with you. He's not responding to your texts. He chose the football game over the big party that was really important to you, and you're feeling hurt by this. Did I get that right? See how that didn't take her a half an hour to tell me? But I made sure I got it right. It was a lot of information. If you do not have clarity on what the doctor said, the nurse said, the husband said, the wife said, ask. I don't know if I got that right. So what I heard you say was, because often what we hear is not what they said. I had a client who was furious. He was a photographer and he got this big contract and he's like, man, that guy, what a jerk. He left me this angry voicemail and he was just yelling at me. And I went, oh my God, that's horrible. He goes, do you want to hear it? And I went, yeah. Thinking we could be pissed together. It was the calmest, not angry voicemail I've ever heard. And about 3/4 of the way through, I stopped. I said, hang on a second. Does it get worse than this? And he goes, no. And I went, there's no yelling. There wasn't even a raised voice. He was talking sort of the way I'm talking right now. He wasn't happy with the contract, but there was no yelling. There was no name calling. But because he was already so angry with this guy, he heard completely different thing than what was actually happening. Staying in that moment. This is the first time you're having this communication. And I'm so glad he let me listen to it because we went back again and listened to it. And he goes, God, I think you're right. He wasn't yelling at me. I went, yeah. So let's dive into why you heard yelling. If you need clarification, ask for it. Because so often we're in a mind state where we're not hearing what's actually being said. So if you're saying something and the person's gotten it wrong, clarify that. You may have heard, I hate your guts. What I said is, would you mind changing the toilet paper roll? Tone matters, and tone is weird. Tone is negligible, right? Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. That's just to get that song in your head all day. I apologize. You're welcome. Yep, my only child friend. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. You have to know what you want. You have to. You don't get into an Uber and say, take me someplace. You have to know where you want to go, because I'm telling you right now, if you don't know what it is, you're not going to get it. And don't tell me you want to be happy. I don't know what that means. Why can't things be easy? I don't know, but that's also not that's not a want. I mean, it's a want, but like, what do you really want? I had a client that said, I want to be successful. I said, okay, what does that mean? She goes, you know, and I went, no, I don't. Does that mean you have a lot of money? Does that mean you set your schedule? Does that mean you take off time whenever you want? Does that mean you can take your kids out of school and travel? What does that mean? Because success and happiness and all those things mean something very different to you than it does to me. My ex-husband published his poetry book. That was a huge success for him. I think he sold 20 copies. He lost money on it, but that is still one of his proudest things. That was success to him. My work that I've been working on since I was a kid got published. That was success to him. We all have to define that, but you have to know what you want. I like to use the 5 whys. The most root cause analysis, the most common example of this is the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C. It was degrading faster than any of the other monuments, even though it was made sort of around the same time. And the powers that be called in an engineering company and said, fix this. And the guy went, yeah, but why is this happening? And the guy went, I don't know, just fix it. Well, that didn't work for the engineer. So he was doing some research, finally got a hold of the groundskeepers and said, hey, guys, do you have any idea what's happening with this monument? And the guy said, I don't know, man, but we're power washing the crap out of it. And he goes, oh, why? He goes, I don't know, there's birds all over the place pooping, and so we have to power wash the monument. Well, we've solved the problem. They put up bird netting, they put up the spiky things. Not only did it look terrible, it did not stop the birds. It kept falling apart. They kept having to power wash. They called the engineer and went, fix it. The guy said, yeah, but why is this happening? Goes back to the groundskeepers, starts doing more research, the power washing because the bird poop. Why are all the birds there? Well, turns out there's really tasty spiders. Really? Why? Really yummy bugs. Why? Because they leave the lights on overnight. And every other monument, they would dim or turn off certain lights, which attracted the bugs, which attracted the spiders, which attracted the birds who pooped, and they had to power wash the monument. So they solved the problem. They dimmed the lights at night. Now, this guy why'd himself out of a really healthy contract because every 2 to 3 years, he'd have to redo that. But he needed to know the why. Why? Why do you want success? Why do you want healing? Why do you want whatever you want? Why? Because if you know the root why, you're going to be better at communicating it and better at getting it. So let's talk, we're going to shift into the medical aspect here. When dealing with medical professionals, and I'm just going to, you know this already, but have someone with you, take notes. Have in writing what you want to talk about. Because isn't it always in the shower where we're like, oh, I know what I wanted to ask. Get out of the shower and write it down. Or tell your phone, hey, Siri, take a note. Don't. Nope. She didn't. Rude. I've done that in sessions where in the other room you hear my phone going, how can I help you? Like, don't worry about it. Don't save the best for last. Don't wait till they're walking out the door to go, oh, and then ask the most important question. I have clients do that. I get through 58 minutes of coaching and then they burst into tears and go, my mother just died. And I'm like, what? Why are you telling me this now? Why is this just being brought up to me? So don't save the best for last. Make sure you ask questions and do your research, but smartly. Please do not read Paranoid Joe's blog and think that he has the answers. There is so much amazing information out there. If there's a word you don't know what it is, look it up. If there's a method or a technique or something that you're interested in, look it up and print it out and say, I saw this. What do you think? Now, the doctor might say one of a couple things. Hey, actually, that sounds great. Hadn't thought of that. Or, oh, that's not proven. Or that's not what this is for. Or just because someone else did it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. This is why we have teams. I'm all about teams of people. But do your research. Bring it to them and say, is this something? When you're sharing bad news, and then I will tell you how I found out my mother was terminal. Sharing bad news. Be open. Be honest. Use medical terms, and then if you have to explain what that is, explain what that is. Take your time explaining it. Say, can we have a half-hour conversation? I want to tell you what's going on with my whatever. Choose your timing. This goes back to the timing thing. Is this a good time to have a conversation? You don't know what happened in that person's world before you got a hold of them. So you want to make sure they're primed and in the best place for that communication. And I know these conversations suck, because I've sat through numerous of them. Not telling people does not solve your problem. You keeping it to yourself, I don't want to bother anybody, I don't want to be a downer, I don't want to share, but it's not helping you. It's not. You gotta tell somebody. Be as present as you can for these communications. Take a deep breath. I'll tell you that in a second, but take a deep breath. Make sure you're in a space to have the conversation. Be open to questions. And if you're not open to questions right then, say, you know what? I know you guys probably have questions. I need to rest. I need to regroup a little bit. Can we do questions tomorrow? I'll let you guys think about this. Not everything has to be done in one sitting. You get to dictate this. And it's often good to have a support person there with you. If it's time to tell your kids that something's going wrong, have your aunt, have their teacher, have a guidance counselor, have your spouse there to help navigate those conversations. Small tips. Take one good grounding breath before you say anything, because it signals to our brain we're okay. And as soon as we're in fight or flight, we're not great eloquent communicators. Sit instead of stand. Sometimes that helps. You're at their level. Sit down. Make sure you're comfortable physically as much as you can be before these conversations. Use the person's name. Hey, Barb, I wanted to, especially if you're dealing with a patient, use their name. And end the conversation with, what questions do you still have? Or, I know you have questions. I can't do questions right now. Let's talk about questions later. But make sure they know that they can come to you with any questions, because they're probably going to have some. Now, I'm not going to go into depth about this. Again, you can have this slide. Sharing bad news with kids. This is tough. And I, at 17, was not aware that my mother was terminal. I knew she was in and out of the hospital. I knew she looked like hell, but I'm a kid. I don't know that her looking like that means we're near the end. I had no clue. No one told me. They completely hid it from me. I was not privy to any conversations until one day my dad came home from visiting her at the hospital, and I had not folded the laundry because I was screwing off playing something, video games or whatever. And he goes, your mother's lying in the hospital dying and you couldn't do the laundry. Oh, that's happening? Not the way you want someone to find out. it messed with my head because I had no idea. I wasn't given an opportunity to ask questions, to know anything that was going on. You've got to share this with people. I had a client who was coming to me very terminal. I almost couldn't see her. She looked just like my mom near the end. And she said, Kathy, I need you to promise me, her daughter was at college. She said, I need you to promise me if I die, you don't tell my daughter. And I'm looking at this from the kid perspective and now the adult perspective. And I said, I can't do that. I said, there's no way in hell I'm letting your daughter stay at college if this happens. I said, I'm sorry. If you need to stop seeing me for that, I understand that, but I can't do that. I will not do that. And her daughter was there. I was in the hospital with her when she passed, with her mom and her daughter. It was beautiful. But you've got to tell them. Not telling them, believe me, does not solve any problems. So if they're really young, they're probably not going to understand, but they're going to feel that something's wrong. Assure them they're safe. Preschoolers, use little word. I've got a lump, draw it, give them a doll, that kind of thing. 6 to 12, my mom got sick when I was 12, and it was not really shared with me. They can, give them books, show them videos online, answer their questions honestly. And as you get older, teens, they're going to want to know. They're going to ask in-depth questions. And if you can, include them in the decisions, give them space to be a part of that. So just my advice on that one. When you're handling someone who's sick, because I know we have a lot of caregivers here, right? Stay present, stay calm, take that breath, get curious about what they need. Some people don't know what they need. I've had so many clients who have lost a spouse or lost a partner or lost a child. And I say, I don't know what you need. And I'm not going to keep asking because I don't want to bring that up for you. But no, I care. And if you need something, reach out and let me know what it is. If it's a phone call, if it's a hand, if it's a hug, if it's a glass of wine, if it's a cry session, if it's a scream session, I want to give you what you want, even though you might not know what it is. Let them know you're there. Acknowledge the problem. Apologize if necessary. If you do something wrong, if you snap at them, if you say, I'm sorry. So I was really stressed the other day. I'm really sorry I was impatient with you. I wish I could go back and be unimpatient with my mom. I was a teenager. I didn't know what the hell, one, that I was doing, or two, what was happening. And I've gone through a lot of forgiveness to let go how I treated her because I didn't know. What was I supposed to do? But ask them what would help and apologize if you need to. Breathe more and don't take it personally. It's so hard when you're dealing with a sick partner because they're probably at one point or another going to treat you like crap. It's just going to happen, right? Don't take it personally. You are doing the best you can. They are doing the best they can in this situation. In rough times, and then we're pretty much wrapping up here, 3 things. Mini meditation, take a break, take a breath. Breathe, just breathe. As soon as you concentrate on your breathing, it tells your brain you're okay. Brings you back to this present moment and stops that fight or flight response. Whether you do counting breaths or finger breaths, there's so many different breath work techniques. Take a break. If it's getting too much, take a break. Go to the bathroom, go for a walk, take a nap. I don't care if this is Christmas with your in-laws or you're dealing with something at the hospital, or if you need a break, find a way to take a break. Even if it's, excuse me for 1 second, I'm going to go to the bathroom. We don't need to know what you're doing in there. You could be meditating. You could be on a calming app. You could be just breathing. And my favorite meditation, and I taught this, I think the last time I was here, is the mini meditation. On the inhale, think I am. On the exhale, think at peace. I did a lot of that on the drive down. And also time travel I was working on, which worked because I got here kind of on time. But inhale, I am, exhale at peace. And when other thoughts intrude, which they will, dismiss them without judgment. They float away like clouds on a summer day. And then return to the breathing and the I am at peace. Finally, presence. Presence is so important. You can't hear if you're not here. If you're interrupting, if you're thinking about what you want to say, if they'd stop talking, I'd tell them that joke, or, I had a similar story. I have a Mitzi too. I should probably tell them that. Then you're not listening. Give them time uninterrupted to speak. And if it goes on too long, say, okay, I say this all the time. That was a lot of words. Can you bottom line that for me? Because there's a handful of people who are verbal processors. They don't know what they want unless they're talking about it. If you're that person, say that. Hey, I don't need an answer to this problem, but I just really need to talk this out. Would you listen? Set the expectation. When my husband comes to me with a problem or he goes, can I talk to you about something? I go, yeah, who do you want? Do you want to just bitch and complain? Do you want me to ask you questions? Do you want me to help you solve the problem? Do you want me to complain with you? Do you want my coaching hat on? And he'll think about it. And often he goes, you know what? Can you put the coaching hat on? And I go, yeah. And I coach him for about 25 minutes. And he goes, okay. Can I have my wife back? And I go, yeah. And I take that off. And I go, what an asshole. Well, I can't believe you did that either. It's the actor in me. I can pull up whatever you need. So set the expectation. Hey, I just really want to complain for a couple minutes. Or can you help me solve this problem? Or, I don't need to solve this today. I just need to process this off my chest. Set the expectation. And if you say, I don't want to solve it, and they start to solve it, then say, nope, that's not what I'm looking for right now. Set the expectation and stick to what you need. Respect if they don't want to share more. They're not always going to want to talk about this. And people might not know what they need. So just be aware that, well, because you want to do something. We want to do something. What can I do for you? How can I help you? In my dealing with lots of sick or grieving people, they want to hear about your world. They want to hear about your day. It doesn't always have to be about them. And I had thank you. Yeah, amen to that. They don't always, it doesn't have to be about them. And community, the world sort of says you have to make everything about that. Tell them about your shitty day. They're going to laugh about you getting stuck in traffic too. Or that Mitzi rolled around in burrs for the 32nd time. Maybe not let her walk there. I don't know, just an idea. But it's like, just remember that they're human and they're living in this global world, and it's not just about the diagnosis. Treat them like the human being that they are, the being that they are. Setting boundaries. I have a whole handout for this, which she just printed out, but really quick, know what you want first. Limit your social engagements. If you don't want someone popping by unannounced, say that. Hey, I love that you dropped off food. You can't just walk into my house. I'm too tired for that. Or I can see you, but only for 10 minutes. Got to set the boundaries. Set the timer on your phone and go, oh, looks like it's 10 minutes. Who knows what, and please don't share. If I in confidence say, look, I'm dealing with this issue, please don't post it on social media. Please don't tell anybody. You have to respect that. Because I don't want my shit plastered all over whatever social media account you feel like sharing it to. Ask for listening, not advice. Set limits on physical touch. If hugging is painful for you, if your hand hurts from having an IV in it, set those boundaries. Look, I can't hug right now. My immune system is really depleted. And choose to talk about, as we just said, regular life. What movie are you watching? What happened to you at work? How's your cat? How's your dog? So we have a handout on that. So in conclusion, and then I'm not going anywhere. I know we're over, but we started 10 minutes late, so I did exactly an hour. Know yourself, be willing to adapt and change to the people around you, and know what you really, really want. I did bring some of my books. Journey of Healing is everything sort of I've experienced as a healer and going through healing. Say what is based on this talk. So if there's things that you didn't grok during this talk, if I went too fast, if you want more, I brought copies of that. It's $10. Conquer your stress at work. Don't let the at work part fool you. It is my favorite stress reduction techniques, applicable wherever. And Conquer Your Stress with Mind Body Techniques is about 40 stress and wellness techniques that you can do, that you can seek out, that you can find. Very good when you're dealing with doctors and such. They're all $10 or $15. I take credit cards, Venmo. I've got a swipey thing. Cash always works. Checks are good. And feel free to reach out. I brought some business cards. I'm here. You guys are stuck with me forever now. So that's my role. So if you need anything, I know I'm in Santa Barbara. I can jump on a Zoom call with you. Text me if you need something. Shoot me an email if you have questions. But again, I'm not going anywhere. So what questions do we have? What can I help with you guys in this moment? I think Rebecca's looking at the chat to see if there's anything. What do you need more to know from me?
Thank you so much, Kathy, for this just wonderful presentation. You're just such a great orator. For those online, I did want to ask if there's any questions. For those in person, let me get to the online first. Kathy, how are you?
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to go sit on the freeway the other way.
So for those online, I'll give you a minute or so to type in your questions. Are there any questions in person? Please feel free to raise your hand. We are still recording, but I can also stop the recording if need be. Are there any questions that are more for the general population? Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I think we're okay on questions. So thank you again so much, Kathy, and thank you for joining online. I did